Okay, thank you for joining me. I'm making this video now up on my roof to explain how, as a nation and planet, we must invest more in renewables, clean, renewable energy. Have a quick look around. You can see what a beautiful planet we live on. We're in Kent here, Garden of England. It is a rather gorgeous day, which is very appropriate for making this video. And this is a 4 kilowatt system on my roof. I like to try and walk the talk if I can, best I can. I had it installed about 7 years ago. It's brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to try and convey what I call basically the benefits of taking responsibility, which is the age-old story. How much people can enjoy responsibility rather than seeing it as a burden. Yeah, I've got a few tools here as well, because we are obviously talking about energy and investments, money and what have you. Just have a look down here. I've got here, these are the tools for my job, or what I'm trying to explain here. So, currency in the olden days, salt. A man was worth his salt. Salt was used for preserving food, hence its value. I haven't got any gold, so we'll have to put up with this coin here. It represents gold and coinage. Some people invest in gold, as you know, if you've got enough money. Here is regular currency. Modern currency, yep. Some people would call it fiat. Don't want to stir up trouble by saying that. And we're going to say this as well represents the storage of electrical energy, which of course powers your freezer and fridge, which of course preserves your food. We've gone full circle there, see? And this represents a degree of more modern times, I'm going to call it Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, which some people are a fan of. And this bottle here of champagne represents the high life. It's how can we live the high life but with a clean conscience. Okay, that's what I'd like to convey as well. I've also got a QWERTY keyboard over there. I'll come to that in a minute. So I've kind of been through, I suppose I've taken people through that already in explaining the tools, because I'm trying to say that we need to, as a nation, this is the way to go. This is what we need to get our heads around. And yeah, in the public sector in particular, and on commercial roofs, the best places to put solar panels really at the moment is on commercial roofs and on public sector buildings, and probably to fund it through, you've got people like energy corporations, Brighton Energy Corporations, that fund it through pensions, investments, crowdfunding, yeah, lots of ways. It's up to people to find that way. The government should be taking more responsibility. I mean, they're shambolic, but we all know that. What else? Yeah, the reason I say commercial roofs in particular is because electricity doesn't travel well. I think there's something like losses of something like 20% losses within the system because of resistance. When you've got solar panels, they're not the silver bullet, but if they're all sitting on commercial buildings, they producing a lot of power on site that can be used on site. When you've got them on a domestic building like mine, you know, when I go off to work for the day, the electricity just flows back to the grid. So the best place for the country is we need a kind of blitz spirit and installation of solar panels on a industrial scale, and we need to get a move on and be galvanised on this topic. Okay, I will touch briefly as well on just something I'd like to mention, because it requires the upgrading of our national grid. And I've cut this piece of wood here to explain that. I'll try and be brief, but I also do a bit of carpentry from time to time. In the building world, most carpenters be happy to work to a tolerance of about 1 millimetre. Say, if I want to make building a stud wall, I want it to be within about 1 millimetre, you know, not much more, which equates to a tolerance of, it's what's called, it's a tolerance of plus minus this. There's 1,000 millimetres in a metre, so you have a tolerance of this, 0.001, or 1/10 of 1%. That's the tolerance probably in the carpentry, general building. Now, a challenge with these solar panels is the tolerance is extreme. These panels, worst case scenario, on a winter's day, are on the worst of winter days, are probably, to be honest, nothing short of awful. Less than a kilowatt. That's on the worst day. But most of the time they will actually be putting out some power, particularly if it's sunny like this. Summer day, June, they will produce, I should say it's 1 kilowatt hour is what it is. It's a unit of energy. Kilowatt is the power, kilowatt hour is the unit, like a gallon of fuel. But on a June day, they will put out 25 kilowatt hours. That is a plus minus of 25 times. So the national grid, it is urgent that the national grid is modernised. It's a big infrastructure project. We don't hear much about it in the media. The national grid needs to be modified or upgraded to deal with effectively the huge surge in power in the summer. And the reason I've got this QWERTY keyboard out is to demonstrate the analogy of the need to evolve and make progress. Because the QWERTY keyboard is an example. See here, it's called a QWERTY keyboard because of this. Because in the olden days when we had old typewriters, the girls in the typing pool were so fast they would jam up the typewriters. Well, instead of solving the problem, what someone decided to do was just make it more difficult for them to type. So they created the QWERTY keyboard, which is awkward. So we don't want any kind of backward reasoning going on. The grid needs to be upgraded. It's vital if we are to be able to bring on the amount of renewable energy we need. So I think that's all for the moment. I probably ought to make another video to explain a bit more. Hang on, Tommy. Yeah, just a couple of sources of information for this book here by David Mackay. I think it's available as a download as well. It's absolutely brilliant. Sheffield University in Sheffield is the #1 place in the country, I believe, for solar research. And what else have you got? Solar Power Portal website is good for doing doing your own research. So yeah, I hope I've convinced everybody. I'm trying to say, without sounding too dictatorial, this is what we need to get on with. It's what we've got to be getting on with and getting our heads around. And it's not a silver bullet, but the more people understand the pros and cons and how it all works, the cleaner the energy. It's enjoying. It's about being proud of our country. What do we want to say? We've got the filthiest cities, the filthiest beaches, or do we want to say we've got the best beaches, cleanest air, lovely topsoil, and leaving the planet in good shape for future generations. So that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much.